us what just happened. I saw the boat wrecked already too. They were coming straight towards us.
I really thought that we were done.
Welcome to episode 9 of Sailing Magic Carpet. In this episode, we have a very scary near collision, and we find an incredible island filled with abandoned military buildings, a fortress that was once visited by Napoleon, a bunch of submarine shielding pistol shrimps, and a half-finished statue of a fascist Italian leader left forgotten in a pile of rocks. The near collision happened on a windy and cloudy day. We set out from the bay of Porto Polo to find a more protected anchorage on a nearby island. So I think we're gonna head out for a bit of a sail. It's pretty windy out there though. Might have to put a few reefs in the main. What do you think, Curious George?
A few reefs.
Check out the wind. Wind is always hard to see and appreciate when caught on camera, but I can feel it, and you can see by all of these windsurfers, there's quite a bit of it.
Unfortunately, we don't have footage of the actual incident, but I'll describe what happened. A sailboat with its sails up has right-of-way. Sailboats are considered less maneuverable than motorboats because to change our course, we also have to adjust our sails. There are some exceptions to this rule. For example, ferry boats, large tankers and cruise ships in small, less maneuverable spaces, vessels which are working, doing things like towing a net or dredging the bottom, or sailboats which are overtaking a motor vessel. But in our situation, we very clearly had right-of-way. In the Mediterranean, there are hundreds of boats out every day, and tons of motorboats which speed past very close to us. We just have to trust that they're paying attention. In this case, we could see a large 30 to 40 foot motorboat approaching from a distance, appeared to be heading straight towards us. We weren't alarmed, because this happens frequently. Motorboats seem to like to play chicken with us, and it's not one of their most endearing qualities. But this time, the motorboat didn't change course. It was on a straight collision course with us, traveling upwards of 20 knots. For comparison, we were traveling at about 4 knots. When we realized it was going to hit us, I started screaming. Aladino started jumping up and down and yelling. I tried to change course, but there was no way for us to move quickly enough. The motorboat was almost on top of us. At the last minute, the captain came up from below, where he had been completely neglecting the wheel, and changed course, avoiding us by only a few feet. I started screaming at him. My adrenaline was at an all-time high, and it took the rest of the day for me to calm down.
But another reason why today was so scary is because motorboats, because they can go so fast, they tend to have a thing of like coming straight at you, and then the last second veering around you, because they never have right-of-way. When the sails are up, we have right-of-way. When you see a motorboat heading straight towards you, it's like, well, do they not see us? Or are they just playing chicken because they know they can get around us quickly? And that's why today was so frightening, because we thought it's just another one of the hundreds of motorboats that go past us every day
We should not
that head straight for us and play chicken with us and then swerve last second. And this one case was actually a case of the person asleep at the wheel and just nobody paying attention. So that really sucks. Like, I don't know what to do about that, and it's such a busy area here. There's so many motorboats whizzing around that it's...
Well, I mean, 80% you just have to get used to. That's how they do. But only
there's that 1% that's
one
actually...
guy that was coming at us, and they were actually sleeping. So you gotta be.
And you don't know how to react, because if you do try and alter your course, and they are paying attention, the motorboat is paying attention, then by you altering your course, that could actually create an accident, because the motorboat's now veering around you, but you changed your course and he steers straight into you.
Fortunately, that evening we forgot all about the motorboat. The island of Santo Stefano, where we dropped the anchor, completely captured our imaginations. Summertime and the lemon
Bro, stop video.
This place has many stories. I'll get to the submarines, the US Navy, and the old fortress in a second. But let me begin with the forgotten statue left in a pile of rocks. So I think a little bit over here, a stone bust, like a sculpture of some guy carved in stone, really, really big. And when I was looking at the history of the history of Santo Stefano before coming to shore, I saw that that bust was from an old quarry, which was abandoned at around the time of World War II. And that the bust is actually of some Italian somehow connected with the fascist movement.
Is that his nose, or should we go this way? No.
I think it's up this way. So we're gonna go find it. We found him. The fascist stone. This quarry was decommissioned around World War II, so this guy's probably been sitting there since then because his political ideas have since gone out of fashion, thankfully.
He looks pretty fresh though.
He does look quite fresh. I guess the sun is keeping him clean. Yeah, it's crazy. You can see him all the way from down in the water. Very large.
There's his other parts.
It's never quite assembled.
Oh, the torso and the nipple. Isn't that his nipple? What about the other one?
Arms? It looks like this could be
Yeah, totally.
a cuff and a hand.
They always have their arms across the tummy. Yes, chest out. Yeah, kind of like that. Not that lovely beak though.
Bouldering on fallen fascist leaders. When this granite quarry shut down in the 40s, it left behind the unfinished statue of Costanzo Ciano, a famous fascist in the era of Mussolini. If it had been finished, the entire statue would have stood over 18 meters tall. That's 59 feet, over twice the length of our sailboat. Now, the forgotten sculpted rock reminds us of the transience of political structures and ideologies. In this era of strongman politics, perhaps that transience can be seen as a small comfort. Below the quarry are a bunch of abandoned buildings. I'm not sure what these buildings were used for. Perhaps they were a part of the US naval base which was stationed here during the Cold War and finally left in 2008. Perhaps they are leftover administrative buildings from the quarry. I'm not entirely sure. But abandoned buildings, no matter their purpose, always hold an aura of mystique which makes them very fun to explore. Funny sound in here. As soon as you step inside, the acoustics become different. Oh wow, it's big. Oh, kind of creepy. It looks like an old cot. Okay, I don't know why I'm surprised it's creepy, but of course it's gonna be creepy. I'm not sure what that is. Aladino? Where are you? Where's here? Oh, there you are. Deanie, come on, it's so cool. We ended the day on top of a fortress. Okay, so behind me on this side of the bay is where we just were, with the abandoned I think, US Navy buildings and the quarry. And now we're heading over to the other side of the bay where there's an old fortress on top of the hill. The fortress is on a high promontory overlooking the rest of the island, and you can just walk right in and snoop around. It dates back to 1773, and from here, Napoleon led one of his first failed missions to take La Maddalena, an island right next to Santo Stefano.
Ocean view, air conditioning, it's a bit cooler than outside.
And self-defense.
Bulletproof windows.
I can't believe it's just open.
Yeah, most of the times people make money out of things like this. Wow, so cool.
This is amazing. Look at the fireplace here too.
Wow. Awesome. Look at this. We could literally make pizza here. Nice light.
Yeah.
Wow. We make the pizza. The little pizza house.
Should we turn it into our pizza house? I think yes. Place I've been so far in the Mediterranean, I think. It's got a little bit of everything, adventure and natural beauty, a beautiful bay to anchor the boat. Yeah, this is remarkable. I think I was really lucky to grow up in a place of extreme beauty, of extreme natural beauty. And growing up in a place like that, it makes you want to pursue more of that beauty in your life, which I think is why I was so drawn to the idea of sailing and hiking and camping and all of those things. Like, I wanted to see more of the natural world, which I could see was so special. And then when you're in a place that isn't so special, when you're just kind of living in a city or something like that, it's really easy to lose sight of those goals again. And coming to places like this makes me remember that feeling of energy and excitement that I would get. Like every time I would go hiking or I would go exploring, I would just be so filled with enthusiasm to do more of it. And that's how I feel right now, like seeing all of this. I want to see more of this. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And I don't always feel that way. Sometimes I feel like it would be easier to just get an apartment, get a job, do that. But moments like this bring that spark of energy back. When we returned to the boat that night, we could hear the sound of popping and snapping through the hull. At one point in the night, I woke up and actually thought it was raining, but the sound was coming from the water. The next morning, I jumped in with the underwater camera and tried to record the sound. After a bit of research, it seems that the sound can be largely attributed to the pistol shrimp, an insane little animal that resides in shallow, warm waters all over the world. With its one giant claw, the pistol shrimp is able to snap with such force that it creates a small implosion and shoots a bubble with such high velocity that it can stun prey several feet away, hence the name pistol shrimp. The heat generated by this snap can reach temperatures as hot as the surface of the sun. I didn't believe it at first either. Look it up for yourself after watching this video. One article that I read about pistol shrimp said that their loud snapping actually could confuse sonar, and that submarines could hide in beds of pistol shrimp to avoid sonar detection. Could this be why the US Navy kept a submarine here for so long? In the next episode, we explore an even larger and creepier abandoned military base. See you next time!